Alrighty, I think this is a good time to start. We got a good handful of people in here. Welcome everybody to UB Alberti Center for Bullying Abuse Prevention's annual conference. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Jason Drucker. I'm super excited to be here. I'm going to moderate today's special empowerment panel sponsored by youth empowerment nonprofit organization Free2Luv. The Alberti Center and Free2Luv have been longtime partners in standing up to bullying. And as you guys can see, I've brought some of my lovely Free2Luv friends and advocates together to just chat and talk about the power of bystander intervention. Also, at the end of this event, we will be sharing some great bullying prevention resources. So make sure to stay tuned to the very end. Alrighty. Now, most of us have experienced some kind of bullying. And I think it's awesome to know that each of us can do our own part to reduce it. Me personally, I became involved with Free2Luv about 7 years ago when I was on Nickelodeon's Every Which Way, which was a TV show. And kids started reaching out to me and adults too. And they were sharing their stories about how they're being bullied and abused. And, I felt helpless because at the time I was 8, but obviously I wanted to support them. So me and my mom, we did our research and we ended up joining the Free2Luv family. And ever since, we've been actively involved in taking a stand and just letting our peers know that they're not alone. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to some of our panelists and just have them talk and share about why they got involved with Free2Luv and why advocating for bullying prevention is important to them. So Kayla, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just like you and so many others, I had my own personal experiences with bullying growing up, and I struggled a lot. And I am a musician. And the first time that I really realized how important music is to spread a message is when I had lost one of my friends to suicide in middle school. And I wrote a song about that. And ever since then, I have been wanting to use my music to spread a positive message, an uplifting message. And we started doing these anti-bullying school tours where we will go in and put on a concert and talk about the importance of mental health and bullying prevention and all of that good stuff. And when we found Free2Luv, their mission and their message just lined so perfectly with ours. And so we joined forces with them about 6 years ago. And ever since then, they have been helping us with these tours and helping us get our message out there and reach a broader audience. So we're so grateful for them and everything that they've done for us. And I'm happy to be here. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Chris.
Yeah, hi. My name is Chris Garcia. My main passion is acting, and the reason I joined Free2Luv is I believe that using my platform with acting, I can use it as a tool of storytelling. So I joined Free2Luv when they did a traveling cirque show. So our first show we ever did was in Las Vegas, and we did it for some middle schoolers. So I actually acted as well with some other performers, and we told a story about bullying and how that can really affect someone and drag them down, but also how you can be an upstander and how you can be a friend and support someone going through the same thing. So that's why I joined Free2Luv. I really support their message that everyone needs to be who they are and no one should be punished for being who they are. And just bullying is not right and how we can take a stand. So that's why I joined Free2Luv.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic stuff. Miah, you want to share next?
Yes, of course. Hi, I'm Miah, and I actually performed in the Cirque show with Chris. I joined Free2Luv a few years ago, and I was bullied a lot growing up, especially in elementary school. So their message and everything they stand for really stuck out to me, and I was so grateful to see these amazing people and how many people they had helping them with this message, and how many people wanted to make the world a better place. So I actually helped start the Cirque production Tour de Force, and it just kind of helped me express myself and do what I love doing, which is circus, to spread this amazing message. And yeah, it was great. I'm super happy to be here and talk about bullying with you guys and how you can prevent it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. And Alex, you want to finish this off?
Absolutely. My name is Alex Angelo. I'm currently living in Nashville, Tennessee, and I am also a musician. I write and produce music for myself and then many other artists. And yeah, mental health has always been part of my journey as a musician. I've had struggles at a young age, like probably many of the people on this panel, just because when you start at something young and you have a lot of passion for it, you give everything you have to it. So you're really giving it your all, and it's tough because there's others who don't necessarily understand that like you do. And because of that, you're bullied. And I was bullied as a young kid. I'm still bullied now online and on various places. But I think that Free2Luv represents something to me that really showcases what you can do as a human being for others and then for yourself to be better and in a better headspace and just do the best that you can as a human and as an artist. So that's why I joined the Free2Luv initiative and Free2Luv family.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for sharing. As you guys can see, it's cool to be able to use your voice to speak up for what you believe. So once again, thank you all for, everything you do to spread kindness and stand up to hate. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk bullying. How do we define it? Bullying can show up in various ways. We're all familiar with, physical and verbal bullying along with cyberbullying. But have you ever considered how gossip and spreading rumors and, exclusion can also be forms of bullying? These forms of bullying are considered relational bullying, and they can be just as harmful as the other forms. So now that we've established a definition for bullying, let's talk about our experiences with these types of bullying. So Alex, would you like to chat a bit about cyberbullying and your experience?
Absolutely. Cyberbullying is where I would say I've experienced the majority of my bullying. It's the newest form of bullying. It's the one that we don't know as much about. It's very tough to deal with as a young kid. And I know I had my struggles in middle school and prior to that, honestly. I mean, we're growing up with the internet. This is a first for a lot of people. And I believe that this is something where we definitely need to become more well-versed in. We need to definitely figure out what are the best practices and what are the best things you can do in your daily life to kind of shut the online off and be able to live your life and not let the people that you don't even know affect you. But yeah, that's very much easier said than done. There's a lot of things I've learned over the years and I would love to share. But that's I believe cyberbullying is a very, very tough thing to conquer. And yeah, it hits for me very personally because that's where I've experienced my bullying.
Yeah. I mean, all types of bullying are very difficult to conquer, but as you mentioned, cyberbullying is very relevant in today's world. And I mean, me personally, I've had many experiences with it, and it's not fun and it's very difficult. So thank you once again for sharing. Kayla, you want to talk a little bit more about verbal bullying?
Absolutely. Verbal is definitely the main form of bullying that I dealt with when I was in school. I grew up in a really small town, and I was maybe more different or eccentric than what people were used to. And especially being a queer woman growing up in a really small town, I just constantly felt excluded and like I was on the outside, and people didn't really get me. And I thought that something was wrong with me. So when people would say these things, like these negative comments to me or these hurtful things, even if they weren't true, I cared so much about what I looked like to these other people. So it was extremely painful for me and what I went through. But luckily, I have grown a lot since then, and I've realized that these opinions of other people are not as important as I would think that they are. And yeah, it's hard, and verbal bullying can be just as painful as physical and any other type of bullying. But I'm happy where I am now, and I've accepted myself, and I love myself. So that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, words can hurt. They can hurt a lot, but I'm super glad to hear about, your development and how you're able to counter verbal bullying. So thank you a lot for sharing. Chris, would you mind sharing your experience with physical bullying?
Yeah, so contrary to cyberbullying, physical bullying might possibly be the oldest form of bullying. And I personally have been lucky that I have not faced too much physical bullying throughout my life. In fact, I can only really recall one experience I've had it in. It was in third grade. So growing up as a kid, I was always a bit smaller, shorter, skinnier, and I also had really long hair. So I mean, my hair is kind of long now, but I mean, when I was in third grade, it was down here. And the one experience I can recall is our playground had kind of like a rock wall with holes in it. And I had a friend, and we weren't too close. He was kind of mean to me, but I was very shy as a kid, so I'd take what I could get. And then his other friends were a bit bigger and they were stronger than me. And they started making fun of me for my hair. They were saying, "Oh, you look like a girl." And obviously at third grade, that was very hurtful to me. And I can recall one time on the playground, my friend, or who at least I thought was my friend, teamed up with them and they pulled my arms through the holes and they would just kind of hit me. Luckily, they were just playing around. So I didn't get too seriously hurt, but felt very scared. I didn't know what to do. I mean, there was three people against one. I wasn't very strong and they were a lot stronger than me. So I felt really powerless. Luckily, I was able to get myself out and was able to go tell one of the adults I was on the playground at the time. But I guess my story to share is that physical bullying can be very traumatizing. It can be really scary, especially when you're against people that you are physically powerless against. And it can be very dangerous. I mean, some people could get seriously hurt or even killed in extreme cases. So physical bullying could be very dangerous. And that's my experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, very, very powerful story and message. So thank you a lot for sharing, Chris. And Miah, would you like to talk about relational bullying?
Yes. So uh, relational bullying is kind of like someone spreading gossip or rumors about you, which I have a lot of experience with. It can like ruin, just friendships, relationships, because especially I think I experienced it a lot like in elementary school and middle school. It can kind of just like really ruin your friendships, and a lot of people would spread rumors about me, and it hurts a lot, especially like as a little kid. You're super gullible, and little kids don't know what to believe, so they believe these crazy things that people would tell about me or my family. A lot of people would actually say really hurtful things about my mom. No one really knew my mom, but they would say really hurtful things about my mom. So at that point, you kind of just have to hold your head up and just know who you are. And that's kind of actually where you gain most of your real friends, because they'll stick by you and they're like, no, I know that's not true, yada, yada. So that's just kind of where you have to be like, I know who I am and I love myself. And it's really hard, but you just have to be like, that's not true. And if you don't believe it, then that kind of sucks, but it's not true. So yeah, but relational bullying sucks, and this just kind of have to hold your head up.
Yeah, I mean, like spreading rumors or gossiping might seem small, but it really can deal a lot of damage to someone. So, yeah, thank you, Maya, and thank you, everyone else, for sharing your experiences. So let's move on. Little known fact, did you know that more than half of bullying situations stop when a peer intervenes on behalf of the person being bullied? Intervention works. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can safely intervene. Alex, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Intervention with online bullying is, I believe, tough for me personally. I've been in a couple of situations where I believe that intervening may, throw fuel on the fire of some sorts. But I believe that the best thing that you can do on the online platform for bullying is honestly blocking and ignoring. I think that if you can get some sort of support from your friends and some sort of, community around you as your people, that's really, really important, and talk those things out to the people that are with you. But I believe that intervening is the best thing online, with just blocking and ignoring. That's been my move always. I just don't believe that I want to even entertain the idea of continuing a conversation that's just going to be more destructive. So that's where I sit with intervening with online bullying.
I love it. Yeah, fantastic advice. Yeah, just surround your feed with, stuff that you want to see and not people who, might bother you or make you uncomfortable. And if they do make you uncomfortable, like Alex said, just block them or report them also. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you, Alex. Maya, you want to go next?
Yeah, so in-person direct intervention can be really helpful. And kind of like Alex said, sometimes you can feel like it's just going to throw fuel on the fire. But a lot of cases, it can be really helpful. And sometimes people don't really realize that they're being rude or saying hurtful things. So I think it's best to not get physical, just kind of be like, hey, that hurts my feelings, or that's really triggering. Do you realize you're being mean? Do you like understand how offensive that is? Because I feel like a lot of people don't really understand when they are being mean. And if they do and they're trying to be mean, then you can, say things to try to get them to stop. Don't say anything rude back, but just be like, ouch, that's not nice. That's not a good thing to say. And a lot of people will stop if someone else intervenes. So I think you should definitely intervene if you see someone.
Yeah, 100%. It's very important to take, an effective approach when you try to intervene. So yeah, thank you, Miah. And Kayla, would you like to finish it off?
Yeah, so for me, obviously, directly addressing the person can be extremely hard sometimes. And standing up for yourself or standing up for someone else, and putting yourself, sometimes you might be putting yourself in harm's way, or maybe you're like scared to stand up or reach out. But there are other ways you can change the subject. You can basically just ignore the comment and maybe just start a new conversation, or maybe talk to the person who's getting hurt or bullied and be like, okay, let's go to class, let's leave, and just taking the pressure off of what's happening there without necessarily addressing it, because sometimes it can be really hard to directly come up to someone and be like, hey, don't do that. And if you're scared to do that, you can still help without just speaking out and saying that directly, by just intervening and getting in the middle of the situation and changing the subject.
Yeah, I love that advice. Yeah, redirecting the focus from like the bullying at hand is very effective, and it works just like all the other methods. So once again, thank you all for sharing. So let's move on. We've just all discussed some great ways to be an upstander. For some of us, it might be out of our comfort zone sometimes to take like a direct approach. But like we mentioned, there's still a lot of other ways that you can be an upstander and support a person being bullied. So let's talk about some of those right now. Chris?
Okay, so there's a couple ways you can provide support to someone being bullied. So obviously the main thing, or one of the main ways to do that, is just to provide support. Be there for the person being bullied. And it may be someone you know very well, it may be someone you've never talked to at all. But if you see someone being bullied, it's very important that you offer support. And you may even end up with a really good friend. And really, when someone is being bullied, all they need is support. So they really don't care too much if you've talked to them before or not. Just knowing that someone is there and that someone cares about them honestly does a lot more. It helps way more than you would expect. So let the person that's being bullied know that they're not alone. So some ways you can do this are you can invite them to spend some time with you, and or just let them know you care. Tell them things like, I'm sorry you had to go through that, or maybe they don't know what they're talking about. Just show them that just whatever the bullies are doing, it's irrelevant. And just let them know that whatever they're saying about them isn't true, because they're just trying to bring that person down. Or maybe share some of your own experiences. Tell the victim something like, people have said things like that to me before and I can relate. And ask them if they're okay. Just check up on them, support them, and be there for them.
Yeah, truly, truly great advice. And I mean, I know from personal experience that just knowing that you have a peer beside you who's supporting you is an amazing feeling. So very, very nicely said, Chris. Miah.
Yeah, so another great way to stop bullying is to get help or report it. I think it's very helpful to get people around you, or an adult, or maybe a teacher if it's happening at school, to diffuse the situation, because teachers are typically better at handling that kind of thing. But just go get help, seek someone out. You can report to someone at the school, like the administration, counselor, a teacher, anyone that you trust, or think that the other person might trust. Maybe tell their parent, see if there's anything they can do at home to help. Just make sure that person's okay and such. But you can also report cyberbullying to or inappropriate content to like Instagram. If it's happening on Instagram, you can report their account. And you can also go to cyberbullying.org to get some help. So yeah, just go get help. And I know it's kind of hard though. It's really hard to ask for help. So just ask someone you trust, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great resources. Like I really can't emphasize enough just how important it is to, let a teacher or an adult, like you said, to let them know about what's going on. So thank you very much, Miah. And Kayla, would you like to finish this segment off?
Absolutely. One thing that I didn't understand when I was growing up is I constantly felt alone. I constantly felt like I was the only person that was going through this. And I thought that there was nobody out there that cared. But I know that now that that's not true. There are so many organizations and there's so many people that are here to help you and care about you and want to be here for you. If that's someone in your life that you trust, a friend, a teacher, a family member, or just someone that can be there for you, the first thing that needs to happen is you have to speak up and you have to tell people and let people know what's going on and what you're dealing with. And there's also online resources, which like Jason said, we're going to share some of those with you at the end of this. There's organizations all over the place like Free2Luv who are willing to be here for you and they want to hear your stories and they want to support you. So that was just the most important lesson that I ever learned is that the support is there and that no matter what you're going through and no matter what you're dealing with, there is somebody that is out there who can help you, who can support you, who may not have been through exactly what you're going through, but they understand you and they want to help. They want to support you. So just, you have to reach out, you have to speak up and know that these resources are available for you and that the help that you need is out there, even if you don't feel like it is. It really is.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Awesome stuff. Thank you all so much for sharing. This next segment is something that I can personally relate to, and I think a lot of other people can also. Friends and bullying. So as a lot of us know, sometimes bullying hits a lot closer to home, and it can involve friends. A friend may be bullying you or bullying someone else. So let's just talk about what we can do when that happens. Chris and Alex, you want to take it away?
Sure. Alex, would you like to start or should I?
You can go first.
All right. So, like Jason, this is one I have a lot of experience with. And I think one of the hardest things about friends and bullying is standing up to bullying in general is already hard enough. But when your friend is the one being bullied or the one that is being the bully, it makes it 10 times harder to stand up to that. So I have some personal stories with this. So I'm a senior in high school and I have a group of friends that I always hang out with. I mean, I've been hanging out with them since middle school. So we're all pretty close. And obviously, teenage boys, we like to joke around and stuff. But a lot of times, those jokes can get a little too personal and a little too far. And the person saying those jokes knows that. And one of my friends, he gets bullied a little bit more than the others. And my friends just like to pick on him. And I remember one time in specific that he just got way too far. He started distancing himself from us. And I decided, I was like, hey, what's going on? And he told me what's happening and that some of our friends are being a little too hard on him. And I remember I texted all of the friends that were involved in that. And I asked them, I was like, hey, why are you guys like bullying my friend? And they all said, what do you mean we're not bullying them? And I say, yes, you guys are. And I tell them what they're doing. And they stopped. And I think what I'm trying to say is it's important to stand up to your friends, as scary as it is, and as hard as it is. And that friends bullying friends is real. And it can take all the different forms of bullying, whether it be cyberbullying, physical, verbal, all that. And I mean, physical doesn't even have to hurt. It could just be maybe touching them in a way they don't like or just purposely trying to get on their nerves. That's a form of physical bullying as well. I think one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about physical bullying is that it doesn't have to cause pain to count as bullying.
Absolutely. That's an incredible message. And I'm kind of piggybacking off of that. When it comes to my personal experiences with friends with bullying, it is interesting just because, yes, it is very much online for me. I believe that, Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media, you choose, it's naturally kind of a toxic environment. You're taking millions and billions of users and throwing them into one room, and everybody has different initiatives. Everybody has different goals, different things they want to say, things that they'll say more times than others. And I think that, for me, I believe that I've seen friends of mine kind of feed into that negativity and feed into that toxicity. And it's tough because, seeing it on the other side, it does look harmful, not harmful, but just not an issue because it's just fun or whatever. But you got to think that some of these users are definitely taking it personally. I mean, I know that I have in the past, and there has been many times for me where I've seen comments or I've seen things, and it affects me very, very much mentally. And, being that I write songs, being that I'm constantly in the studio making music, that is very much a mental thing as well. And so for me, I've seen firsthand how something mentally can affect my work and affect what I do. And so just think about the different things that are being said online and the different things that you see your friends say online, because even though to them it may seem just, like it's nothing or harmless or anything like that, it really does and it can mean something to somebody else. So I think that, intervening and doing it, I believe privately is a great way of doing it. If you can text that person, whatever the way of form of contact that you have with them on a personal level, I just think if you're able to contact a friend of yours and kind of, be able to have a dialogue and have a conversation about what they're putting out there into the world, you'll grow closer to that person, but you'll also achieve some sort of, a little bit more inching towards some peace on the internet. And that's rare to find. But I think that if we all kind of chip in and are able to do so, the internet will become a better place to be on.
If I could add, oh, sorry. Yeah, if I could add one thing to the thing I was saying, it's completely okay to just walk away and not be friends with the person anymore. If they're just someone that's not being good to your other friends or not being good to you, they're obviously not someone you want to keep around. So even though it's hard, it's completely okay to just walk away and not be friends with that person, because it can take a big toll on yourself as well as other people that you care about.
100%. Yeah. Like you said, it might be hard to walk away from a so-called friend, but if they're not being your friend anymore, then, it's for the better just to, separate yourself and focus on more of the positive. And you guys also touched upon how important it is to, let a friend know, like if they're being mean, if they're making someone else uncomfortable, you have to be a good friend yourself, and you got to let them know that, they're not being nice. So thank you, Chris and Alex, for sharing. And Miah, would you like to go next?
Yes, so it's also a big deal when a friend is bullying you, but I think a lot of it has to do with friends just not really knowing when they're going too far. I think a lot of friends, especially my friend group, I have a lot of experience with this. My friend group, we really like to mess with each other, but sometimes it does go a little too far, or sometimes a friend or myself is just having kind of a bad day, and it's just kind of like, okay, like that's not today. So I think at that point you kind of just have to be like, okay, I'm not really in the mood for that, or today was a bad day. Because I think just a lot of the time friends don't really realize when they're going too far. So just kind of be like, hey, that's not really nice. I am not in the mood for that, or I was going a little too far. Just kind of let them know that you're not in the mood or whatever it may be. And I also think that sorry, totally blanked. Because like, what am I trying to say right now? I don't know why. I had a train of thought, and then I was just like, what am I even talking about?
If you don't care.
Oh no, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
I wanted to add on to that because I was just listening to what you said, and it made me think of I've been the receiving end of that and the giving end of that. I am like that with my friends as well. We like to joke around with each other, and sometimes for us, making our trauma or our things that we've been through in life a light or a joke can make it easier, or just something that we like to do with each other. But there's definitely those days, or sometimes things go too far. You have to also be willing to know. So when someone is brave enough and being able to stand up for themselves and say, hey, don't say that to me, that's mean, I don't like that, you have to not take that personally when someone says that to you. You have to be like, well, it was just a joke. Don't do that. You have to be like, oh, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings, I won't do that again. You have to be prepared for the fact that it's not, sometimes it goes too far, and even if you didn't mean to say that, or you didn't mean to hurt their feelings, that you did, and you have to walk that back and apologize and just move on from it and don't do it again. It doesn't make you a bad person, or you did something wrong, and we'll move on from it and we'll learn from it. Don't eat yourself up or beat yourself up about something like that. Just know that moving forward, don't do it again. And when receiving information like that from somebody, when they're telling you something, you have to respect it and respect their boundaries that they're setting with you, because you'd want them to do the same thing for you. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's the time old saying, treat others the way that you want to be treated. So fantastic point. I mean, honestly, it looks like we also have a little bit of time left over. So you guys just want to go around and maybe just give advice to anybody who's facing bullying right now and just give any tips? Yeah.
It's like a great idea.
Do you want to start us off?
Cool, sure. I will.
Okay.
My advice is definitely, I am an extremely sensitive person. I take things really personally, and it took me a long time to understand that not every single person in the world opinion of me matters. What they think of me isn't who I am, and who I am is how I want to be perceived, not how people are looking at me from the outside. So I'm just trying to be a better person every day and do what I think is right, and trying my best to make myself happy and not hurt anyone else at the same time. So it's important to not take everything to heart and not let that change who you are, or not let yourself try to change to fit the ideas that these other people have of you. Because I was constantly changing the way that I dressed, the way that I act, who I hung out with, and what I looked like, because I wanted people to like me, and you're not going to be happy if you're doing that. So
yeah, just focus on loving yourself and just kind of just block out everyone else's opinion, because honestly the only opinion that truly matters is yourself. So anyone want to go next?
I think that another thing I kind of forgot to mention is that bullies can also be going through something. So sometimes, people take it out on others. And I think that's a really big thing. I catch myself, my mom tells me to do something and I'm going through a hard thing and I kind of yell at her, and that really sucks. But sometimes people are just going through something that you know nothing about. So maybe if you see someone bullying, you can kind of be like, hey, is everything okay? Because a lot of the time it's not okay. Something may be going on at home. Or whatever it may be, but a lot of the times the bully is going through something themselves. So try to see if you can maybe befriend them, try to really get in their head, see what's wrong, because a lot of the time something is definitely wrong.
Yeah, that's a really great point. There's some source of the bullying, so make sure that if you want to, check up on the bully, and who knows, maybe you'll make a new friend. Alex and Chris, you guys can share, then I guess we'll wrap this up.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's tough to navigate bullying at any age. It's not easy. And it's a problem that I believe doesn't necessarily go away. Every stage of your life, you get a new set of issues, problems, and people. And with those people, there are some in your life that are going to give you problems. It is inevitable. And there's different arenas, as we've talked about, where, they are bullying you, and there's different ways that they are. And I think that it's tough. It's going to be a problem. But the thing is that you have to find the people around you that are going to be able to support you. Me personally, that is my family. I look to them for support. I am constantly going to them with any sort of feelings or issues, and I'm able to have a nice conversation with them and really talk it through and get through these things. I mean, for some people, and as well as for me, I go and see a therapist. I see no problem with that. I believe that everybody, if you feel comfortable to do so, you should not be shamed in feeling that that's wrong. I think that you need to figure out what works for you, figure out those practices and put them into place. That is what I've done with my life throughout it. And while I was growing up doing something that I was very passionate about, that others kind of looked down upon. But yeah, I just think that you need to find what works for you and really put that in place and exercise that muscle, be able to have that and have the necessary techniques that can help you out.
Totally agree. Yeah, a good support system is extremely important. All right, and last but not least, Chris.
Yeah, so I don't have too much to say, but I guess if there is one thing I would like to share is that, like Alex was saying, it's good to go and get support and talk to people. But I think it's also very important to check with yourself, ask yourself if you're okay, and really be open. I mean, I know sometimes in the past that I've struggled with, if I've been going through a hard time, one thing that was really bad is I always told myself, oh, this happens to everyone, or oh, you're just trying to make, I would tell myself, oh, you're romanticizing this, you're trying to get attention and feel sorry for yourself. And that's one thing I always told myself. And now that I think about it, that really wasn't healthy. So just check in with yourself, make sure you're really okay. And it's okay to go through a hard time. And also another thing is check in on those around you, even your support. I mean, I think a lot of people should check in on their parents, ask them if they're okay, or other people that they open up to. Because a lot of times you'll unload your troubles onto someone, but you don't really know what they're going through. So I think it's important to also share with your support systems and ask how they're doing as well.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Make sure, you're good yourself, but also, like Chris said, make sure everyone else around you is good. I love it. Kayla. Yeah.
Do we have time? Do we care if we got a question in the Q&A thing? I was wondering if I could maybe give a slight answer.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So somebody asked, what do you do when none of these strategies work? Instagram doesn't care. And if someone is committed to being mean and they just won't stop when you ask them to. I have had situations like this in my life where I've just let people run over me over and over again. And I'll be like, hey, that hurts. Or I'll try everything. I'll reach out to people and it doesn't quit because this person either doesn't care or they're just so deep into this that they're completely unaware that they're doing this to you. And at this point, it just needs a full cutoff. Like, there was a friend in my life who just constantly did me wrong. And I kept coming back to her because I thought it was going to get better and it never did. And it's okay. We grow and we evolve and we change as people. And these people don't need to be in our life all the time. Sometimes you need to do whatever you can to avoid this person or to stay away from them. And not everybody's meant for each other. So sometimes, there's nothing you can do and you have to leave that situation and you have to let it go and you just gotta keep doing you and let them be hateful about it. Just
gotta keep living life. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. I think that about wraps it up. So thank you everyone for sharing and being a part of this very important topic. A huge shout out to Alberti Center and Free2Luv for providing this platform to let our voices be heard. So, we love to keep the conversation going on social media. So feel free to tag Free2Luv and Alberti Center with any questions or comments to get involved in the conversation using the hashtag #BeAnUpstander. Yeah. So hit us up. And just overall, one thing I hope you guys can take away from this is that you're never alone and there's always someone who can support you. We are all here to support you and to encourage you to be there for each other and be an upstander to help prevent bullying. So remember, bullying ends where kindness begins, and it starts with each of us. So thank you once again. I hope you all enjoyed. And also, we're going to put up some great bullying prevention resources right here, I think. Yeah. Thank you all.